Golden State Warriors look like they may be turning it around after getting off to a horrific start to the season. Their slow start this year was very concerning amongst NBA fans and especially Warriors fans. And to be completely honest, their entire follow-up to that 2022 championship has been pretty disappointing. There was obviously last season where they couldn't buy a win on the road the entire regular season. Then they squeaked into the playoffs and had a pretty impressive first round against the Kings. And after showing some great stuff against Sacramento, they got against the Lakers in the second round, and it was a complete meltdown. There were some disappointing performances from some of their best players. Steph Curry was pretty inefficient that series. Klay Thompson and Andrew Wiggins, two key guys during that 2022 championship run, both saw major dips from regular season scoring production into this round as well. And those struggles in that second round series against the Lakers kind of opened up this idea that we may be seeing the end of the Golden State Warriors championship era. And obviously the start to this season kind of proved the idea that that speculation may be true. Injuries, shooting slumps, the absence of Draymond Green, all of those things really plagued Golden State so far throughout the course of the year, and they haven't been able to really find any consistent rhythm for themselves. Draymond's absence especially really hurt this team. They saw a major defensive dip with him not being out there on the court. Also, obviously, on the offensive end, they just weren't as in rhythm as a group as they're used to being. Even Steph Curry's numbers dipped. His percentages, he shot at 41% from the floor during that time that Draymond Green was out. And I'm not saying Draymond Green is the reason behind Steph Curry being a dominant player, but as I said, he is such a vital part to their offense. When he's not there, when he's not playing well, a lot of things totally fall apart. And I think this really speaks to the intrinsic value of Draymond Green to this Golden State offense and defensive attack. And that's contrary to this kind of growing post-Kevin Durant era belief that Draymond Green's value to Golden State is overrated. This season, more than ever, his value to Golden State is completely being re-emphasized. And luckily, since he's been back here in the lineup and as they're kind of getting accustomed to a couple things and continuing to make lineup changes and adjustments, they've been playing pretty well when he's been back out there. Since his return, their defensive rating has gone up. And also on the offensive end, as I mentioned earlier, they are flowing so much better. And for him, from an individual standpoint, this is arguably some of the best basketball we've seen Draymond Green play over the last couple of seasons. Most impressive about him this year is this is the best by far he's ever shot it from three-point range. He's knocking down 40% of his threes on 2.6 attempts. And they're on this really important stretch where they've managed to pull off a lot of signature victories. They've been able to knock out teams like the 76ers, the Pacers, the Suns, and the Jazz over the last week and a half or so. And through these big wins, especially, their defense has been the most glaring thing. And as I said, once again, attribute that to Draymond Green being back out there on the court, being an anchor and really orchestrating their attack on that end. You also have to credit the play of Jonathan Kuminga. This is by far the best season of his career after having kind of an up and down, inconsistent role on and off the bench over the last couple of years here for Golden State. He's seen a major jump in point per game production. He's also been amazing from a defensive standpoint, and he's made a very compelling case for most improved player this season. He jumped his scoring up from 9.9 points per game last season to 15 points per game on 54% shooting from the floor this year. And first-year player Brandon Pajemski has also been amazing in this lineup for this team on both ends of the floor. He's also been one of the more impressive defensive rookies this season. He's also helping this offense flow really well in Golden State. When he's out there, he doesn't do anything to take away from their attack on that end, and he's fitting right within their system. So they're playing a very good stretch of basketball, and obviously consistency is going to be key, especially throughout the rest of February. This is a very important month for them. They have a lot of big games coming up between playing the Knicks, the Lakers, the Nuggets, and a few other big teams before March. And this could be the turning point for Golden State to go from being a team that may just be a playing squad to actually being a squad who can get into the playoffs comfortably and make a deep run. And what this team is trying to accomplish and prove is that they can still win championships and contend for titles with this core of Draymond, Steph, and Klay. And also just really try to disrupt this notion that their era of dominance is over with. That's why at the deadline, they didn't pull the trigger and make any big moves. It looks like their front office and their core is trying to make this statement that this team can still contend and this team can still play with the best of them out in the Western Conference. And the key to them getting back there is obviously going to be their consistency on both ends of the court, but also the play of their young guys. More than ever, they're relying on a bunch of first, second, and third year guys like Brandon Pajemski or Trace Jackson Davis or Jonathan Kuminga. And we've even seen some of those young guys get put into closing lineups. Klay Thompson just hasn't been playing well, so we've seen Steve Kerr kind of defer to those younger guys to end games. And those reps for them could be super important come postseason time. But they've got to show that they can be reliable around that core of Steph, Klay, and Draymond Green. But those things are going to be absolutely key for the Golden State Warriors if they want to get back into actual conversations of being a title contender. So if Golden State wants to keep this championship era alive, this stretch of games through February and early March is going to be super important for them to get back in the right position.